One of the telltale signs of hysteria, when behavior typically deemed mentally unstable becomes entirely acceptable. If you ever wonder how people ended up drowning witches or killing neighbors in civil wars or following Chrissy Teigen on Instagram, you can bet hysteria was the driving force. We've seen idiots on TV defending riots and looting while laughing off rising murder rates. And they aren't just rising, they're exploding. Currently in NYC, the rate of shootings is expanding faster than Brian Stelter's sweatpants. Pretty sure I used that line before, but it never gets old. But such behavior is a moral blindness, an acceptance of evil that's infected the media, politicians, Alyssa Milano, and all those nutbags cosplaying on the street. People call them protesters out of fear, but they aren't. They're the white middle-class riot kids caught in a spell of fashionable madness. It's awful. Until it's so awful, it's hilarious. Right, Arnold?
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Oh, there's a classic. Normally, I'd never think of that movie, ever. Except it's been pulled from an Oregon film festival after some unloved protesters claimed it glorifies police. Now, adults would ignore such complaints, assuming they're from shut-ins whose only film they're familiar with is whatever forms around their toilet bowl. But organizers of the NW Center aren't adults, they're cowards. They heard the hysterical call to arms that police are bad and folded like a Portland mayor before a non-cisgendered alpaca who self-identifies as a ferret. Other films slated to run at the festival include Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Creature from the Black Lagoon. Fast Times? Let's take a look.
Can I have your phone number so I can ask you out sometime?
Do you have a pen? This one's out of ink.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Typical patriarchal oppression in the form of cisnormative gender prisons. Plus, Sean Penn played a surfer, a crime of cultural appropriation given that surfing was predominantly Polynesian. We need to ban this. Creature from the Black Lagoon? Well, how racist is that? Black Lagoon? Really? Let's look at this horror film.
Hey!
What's it look like to you? Clearly, it's tapping into a white privilege fear. A dark-complexioned creature kidnaps a Caucasian female and brings her to his lair. This could have been written by Trump's campaign staff. We need to burn all the remaining reels, please. It's hysteria. It's what our country's callow leaders are having for dinner with their burned hair. Remember the Boston Marathon bomber? He was supposed to die, but he got a reprieve last week. Right, he won an appeal on his death sentence. He appealed for less death and won. You know who didn't get a reprieve? The SWAT team who caught the frickin' bomber. Yeah, they were disbanded. Apparently, the city suddenly and coincidentally had limited resources, so they cut the specialized, highly trained outfit. Meanwhile, Seattle's expected to slash their police force in half and get rid of their SWAT team and horse-mounted unit. With the money they're saving, maybe they're going to build a downtown hysteria zone. No cops and no sense, but a ball pit for Antifa. Doesn't it make you remember when all the good libs told us that when leftists said defund the police, they didn't really mean it? Lies. And they're doing all this as homicide rates spike in large Democrat-controlled cities, and as the FBI has to open 300 domestic terror investigations since the riots began. And now, after 70 days of rioting, the Portland mayor is upset. But not because of the suffering it brought to his citizens, but that it might help Trump.
Don't think for a moment that if you are participating in this activity, that you are not being a prop for the re-election campaign of Donald Trump, because you absolutely are. You are creating the B-roll film that will be used in ads nationally to help Donald Trump during his campaign. You don't want to be part of that? Then don't show up.
See, that's why the chaos and violence is evil, because it provides great B-roll for Trump, not that it hurts people. What an immoral pile of crap this mayor is. He's why this country could be screwed. Yeah, hysteria makes you do weird things, like in a time of ramped-up violence, eliminating cops and SWAT. Do you think this is an intelligent response or a panicked one born from cowardice? Well, it's cowardice, but it's also mental illness, driven by a media that makes money not off content, but discontent. But there may be signs the hysteria is running out of victims. We're watching Ellen get figuratively and possibly literally canceled. Yeah, the most off-limits celeb you can imagine, a famous, lovable, liberal lesbian, is getting devoured by the wokeadile for being a jerk. That means the wokists are running out of fresh meat when they feast on their own. Bill Maher, lock your door, Oprah's coming. So will this insanity run out of steam? Or are these nuts just like Doritos, that no matter how many bags you go through, they keep making more? And as long as colleges keep churning out these rage worms, they'll keep clogging our highways and abusing decent citizens. Unless the adults wake up and take the reins back from these twerps. It better happen soon. The thing about hysteria, the more it spreads, the longer it lasts. Suddenly you wake up thinking you're in Portland, when it's now America.
Period.